Welcome back, guys, to another review of the Pacific Championships. The Kiwis versus the Kangaroos. My favorite opponent, my favorite game in the international calendar, no matter when it's played. As a Kiwis fan, I always love playing the Kangaroos. They are the epitome of the world's best team. They are, and I love beating them when we can. Now, we haven't had a great history of beating them, but it feels like this is probably a good chance to beat them. Especially, I've looked at the squads and I'll break it down now for you guys. Look, we'll start with the Kiwi squad right now. Unchanged 17 from what I see. I like it. I like it a lot. I think that's the right thing to do, and I mentioned it on the review of the Kiwis versus Samoa that they needed to keep this squad because we're not like the Kangaroos. We're not like the Kangaroos that play the Origin, that have had years of these combinations, and the system that they play, especially with Mal, it translates very easily to the international game. Whereas the Kiwis, over its history, have always built combinations through a tournament. But surprisingly enough, we came out with a really good game plan against Tor Samoa and dominated. I did not expect that. So it's going to be interesting. But look, for me, that squad, yeah, you have to stick with it. You have to ride the best players. And that looks like the best squad, again, with Kieran Foran starting, Fa'amanu Brown coming off the bench. I like the balance they got on the bench. Sofa Solomon, Griffin Neem, Leo Thompson. For me, this game is very much, again, built on the spine players, getting the guys in the right positions. I think our outside backs are absolutely awesome. Centers, Timoko and Manu, they're just damaging runners. I mean, be interested to see how the Aussies contain them over a full game. And that four-pack, Fisher Harris and Leota, those two front rowers are awesome. Now, Papali and Nikora probably need some more ball for them. Probably not getting the best ball in terms of running lines, short balls, that type of thing. Be interested to see how they use it. And Tapine, I thought, was that balance between Leota, Fisher Harris, and Tapine. Those three combined has been really good so far from what I've seen. So I'm excited about those guys. And then the balance of Neem, of Sofa Solomon, and Thompson. I think that's the right balance right there. Now going to the Aussie squad. Tedesco, Dylan Edwards, Fido, Staggs, Holmes, Munster, Cherry Evans, Travojevic, Ben Hunt, Flegler, Murray, Cotter, and Yeo, and then Grant, Collins, Carrigan, and Hines. For me, that back five looks a bit vulnerable. Fido, Staggs in the centres. I think Manu and Timoko can get at them. I really do. Holmes is always class. He's always been someone I've hated in the Kangaroos jersey. Always able to beat us. Just very professional, very good at what he does. Tedesco at the back again. Solid, but for me, a lot of people crying for Edwards to take his place. Probably. But again, this is a really good squad. Munster and Cherry Evans, again, those Queensland halves. This is where Origin starts to pick things up. This is where the Origin element guys, these two guys especially, played in massive games, bigger games than this. Bring that experience with them and directing the team around the park. And then you add the Ben Hunt element, those three, with Tedesco and his experience. Man, this squad just it's got a depth of talent. It may not be as talented, but as a team, they'll know how to get up for this and they'll know how to put it together. Front row scares me for them. Travojevic and Flegler. Flegler's awesome. I love Flegler. But Travojevic, a bit smaller, probably not as impactful. Means to me they'll probably try and shift the ball around a bit more. They'll try and... They're not going to try and bump it up one out hit outs. They're going to try and shift as much as they can. Murray and Cotter on the edges. That's interesting too. Like Cotter, a smaller back rower, and Murray, both small back rowers types. Just see how it goes. Again, it's screaming out for a Kiwis like win here, or just saying, oh well, at least we got combinations that are actual back rowers. Yo in 13, I think's great. He'll always be consistent no matter what he does. Harry Grant off the bench again. That Ben Hunt Harry Grant combination from Origin translates well into the Kangaroos, and they should do fine. Collins, Carrigan, and Hines. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Lindsay Collins gets a start over Travojevic. I'll be interested to see how they approach that. Carrigan, again, qualities. Now, Hines at 17, carrying an extra back. It's backfired a few times, I think, in the Blues camp. Oh, I can't remember if it was the Blues, but coming off that bench kind of rotation. Yeah, I think it was the Blues when he did come on as a 17. It didn't really work. Mel, for me, is like, this is kind of his way of saying, well, you know, we're not going to focus on this game. If the Kiwis win, all good. We've got Haas, Tino, Liam Martin, all these guys coming back for the final. We want to win this comp. We want to dominate. I'm happy to roll out guys that I want to debut, like, you know, Flegler, Travojevic. I just want to get them through some work. And then I'm going to freshen up for the final. So it's kind of not like he's throwing the game away, but it feels as though like he's at least making it feel as though the favourites here is the Kiwis a little bit. But we all know the Kangaroos, no matter what line you have, they'll always have the upper hand. Look, this goes back, I think it falls back on Maguire. And for me, I said it, pardon me, guys. I said it last week. I said, this needs to be, look at this as a 3-game series, but in 2 games. Like, personally, I would love to win 2-0. But there has to be some type of approach where it's like a series, a little bit. I think Mel's clear about that. He knows, oh, well, if we drop game 1, it doesn't matter as long as we're in the final. We don't have to win this game. If we win it, great. But still, there's another final. And the same thing goes for the Kiwis in the past, where they've lost games where they're the clear favourite or felt they were the favourite, and then they've come back and won the finals. So it would be, you know, you'd have to say the Kiwis would try and win at least one of these games, or should win based on that talent. And you're saying from a front row perspective of Travojevic, Flegler, that doesn't scare you. Neither does Cotter, starting back rower. With Hines in the interchange, you got to say power-wise, the Kiwis are more than capable. But like I said, these Kangaroos, they with the Origin experience, the class they have, they could win this game. But for me, it falls back on Madge. Going back to that team. Now, the thing I have a little bit of concern with sometimes is that Kiwis, especially Jerome Hughes, they do play a little bit of eyes up footy sometimes. They do lack a little bit of patience. But I think, for example, remember last year when he kicked on the first tackle to Hiku to score the try and it just wasn't on. There was a little bit of panic there. And he did the same for Isaiah Papali'i. And it was great. It came off. But if you do that against the Kangaroos on those first and second tackles like that, they usually snuff those out. They usually nullify those. So I think it's important that we stay patient, we build pressure, and over time we will get them to break down. Now, for me, Munster and Cherry Evans, they're not unbeatable. They've got that experience in Origin, but Hughes and Dylan Brown, they've had one World Cup, series to build those combinations. They've had time. They're building their combination quite well. You can see that they're starting to really click as a team. I think the Manu, like I said last week, Manu going back into the centres, but he's kind of playing a roving fullback / centre role where he can move either side of the field. And then Chance is that glue that connects everything. I'm confident in saying that we should win this game. But at the end of the day, there's going to be things taken out from this game that will benefit us. Even if we did lose, you take the learnings from that. The interesting thing is seeing how Kieran Foran holds up. Like, for what he's done against Samoa, absolutely amazing. He does get bumped around because he's not a natural hooker. He gets pushed around. But I feel as though if he can hold himself to account for 60 minutes, like how Madge was getting him to do, I think that's the benefit of having him in the team. and then Fa'amanu Brown comes off in the end. But this will be a closer game, so Madge's rotations will have to be a lot tighter. You can't just let Foran go for 60 and then not bring it back on. There will be some periods at the end of the game where we will probably need Foran to finish this game off. So, look, for me, you always favour the Kangaroos, but I'm going out on a limb here, and I'm going to say the Kiwis are going to win. I think it's going to be 1-12 type win, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was 13 plus. At different, it could be, but stay safe for 1-12. But it's going to be a good match. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's about time we get some wins for the Kiwis. We haven't played, we play the Kangaroos so inconsistently. This should be a regular fixture every year. What we lost, we beat them in 2018. We lost in 2019. Then we didn't play them for 2 years, and then we played them in the World Cup semi-final. We lost that. So to set off the new, kind of era and going into a new World Cup cycle, you want to win this one, or you want to at least win the final. But I think there's a clear chance to win this one specifically and build that confidence, and then prepare mentally to know we're going to try and go for 2 here in the grand final in Hamilton. So exciting times. I always love my international footy. Hope you guys do too. And we'll catch you on the flip. Peace.